My late wife and I set up a college fund for our daughter, but now my new wife struggles to get pregnant. Reddit. I've been grappling with the decision I made and the consequences it's had on my family. I never thought I'd find myself in a situation like this, but here I am questioning everything to understand how things got to this point. I need to start. At the beginning, I met my late wife Anna. When we were both in college, she was studying to be a teacher, and I was working toward my engineering degree. Anna had this light about her. She was kind, warm, and effortlessly charming. She was the type of person who could make anyone feel at ease, and from the moment we met, I was drawn to her. Anna and I dated for a few years before we got married, and our life together was everything I dreamed of. We didn't have much when we started out, but we were happy. We lived in a small, cozy house, worked hard, and supported each other's goals. Anna was passionate about teaching and loved working with kids. I admired her dedication and the way she poured her heart into everything she did. A few years into our marriage, we welcomed our daughter Lily. She was our world from the moment she was born. She brought a sense of joy and purpose to our lives. Anna and I adored her, and we were determined to give her every opportunity we could. From the time Lily was born, Anna and I started saving for her college education. We both came from modest backgrounds, and we knew how hard it could be to get ahead without financial support. Every spare dollar we could save went into that college fund: birthdays, holidays, tax refunds, everything extra that went towards Lily's future. By the time Lily reached high school, the fund had grown into a significant amount. It wasn't enough to cover for everything at an Ivy League school, but it was more than enough for a solid state university or a smaller private college. We were proud of what we'd managed to save, and we were excited about the future Lily would have. 6 years ago, my world fell apart. Anna was taken from a sudden. I don't want to go into too much detail, but losing her was the most devastating experience of my life. I wasn't just mourning the loss of my wife, I was trying to figure out how to move forward as a single parent. For years, I focused entirely on Lily. I tried to be the best father I could while grappling with my own grief. Those years were hard, but Lily and I got through them together. I thought I was doing okay, holding down a job, keeping things stable, and making sure Lily had what she needed. But in the back of my mind, I knew something was missing. I missed the companionship of the partnership and the sense of family that Anna and I had built together for 3 years. After Anna passed, I reconnected with Susan, someone I'd known casually through mutual friends. Susan was 45 at the time. Never married and didn't have children, though she had always dreamed of being a mother. We bonded over our shared experiences, her longing for a family and my grief over the one I'd lost. Susan was kind, empathetic, and understanding. She never tried to replace Anna, and me appreciated the way she respected my past. Over time, our relationship deepened, and we got married about 2 years ago. It felt like a new chapter, a chance to start over. Early in our relationship, Susan told me how much she wanted to be a mother. She had always imagined herself raising children, and while she loved Lily, yearned to have a child of her own. I wasn't opposed to the idea. In fact, I started to see it as an opportunity to create something beautiful out of the loss I'd experienced. Susan and I began trying for a baby, but after months without success, it became clear that she would need help. That's when I first brought up IVF, I was hesitant. IVF is expensive, and I knew it would stretch us financially. That's when Susan suggested we use Lily's college fund. I struggled with the idea of touching the college fund. It wasn't just money. It was a promise I had made to Lily and to Anna. It was a symbol of our hopes and dreams for Lily's future. But Susan was persistent. She argued that giving Lily a sibling would be the greatest gift we could give her. She said a sibling would provide companionship, someone to share life with long after we were gone. Susan also pointed out that Lily could take on student loans if needed. A new life is more important than money, she said. Over time, I started to see things her way. I convinced myself that using the fund wasn't just about fulfilling Susan's dream. It was about creating a stronger and bigger family and giving Lily something she could cherish for the rest of her life. After much deliberation, I agreed. We used the college fund to pay for 3 rounds of EVA. The IVF treatments failed. After 3 attempts, we were out of money and emotionally drained. Susan was devastated. She fell into a deep depression, mourning the loss of the dream she had held onto for so long. Tried to support her, but I was grappling with my own guilt. I had made a decision that not only left us without the child we hoped for, but also jeopardized Lily's future. Now Susan has started talking about adoption. She says it's her last hope to become a mother. But I'm hesitant about adoption. Expensive, and after everything we've been through with IVF, I don't know if I have the emotional or financial capacity to go down that road. A few weeks ago, Lily came to me to discuss her college plans. She had been accepted into a great school and wanted to talk about how to budget for tuition and other expenses. That's when I had to tell her the truth. The college fund was gone. I tried to explain. I told her that Susan and I had used the money for IVF, believing it was an investment in our family's future. I told her we thought giving her a sibling would bring her happiness and a sense of belonging. I thought she'd understand, or at least see that I had made the decision with good intentions. Instead, she was furious. She accused me of betraying her and her mother's memory. She pointed out that the fund wasn't just mine. It was something Anna and I had built together for her. She called Susan as selfish and manipulative, and she was horrified that I had prioritized a hypothetical child over her future. Her final words broke me. "Don't contact me again unless you have the money to give. I don't want anything to do with you." Or Susan, she stormed out, and I haven't heard from her since. I feel like I've ruined everything. I thought I was making a decision that would benefit our family, but instead I've alienated my daughter and tarnished Anna's memory. Susan is heartbroken too. She's tried reaching out to Lily to apologize, but Lily has refused to respond. We've started seeing a counselor to deal with the brain this has put on our marriage, but it's hard to see a path forward when the weight of our decisions feels so overwhelming. Financially, we're in a tough spot. The college fund is gone, and there's no way to rebuild it in time for Lily to start school. She'll have to rely on student loans, which is something I know Anna never wanted for her. I feel like I've let down everyone, Anna, Lily, and even Susan. I need to know if I made an unforgivable mistake. Was I wrong to prioritize the dream of a new child over Lily's education? The college fund wasn't just Ops to spend, it was something Op and Anna built together for Lily's future by using it for IVF. Not prioritized a hypothetical child over the real, tangible needs of OP's daughter, even if OP's intentions were good. The impact of Op's decision is undeniable. Lily now has to start her life saddled with loans because Op gambled her future on something that wasn't guaranteed. To be honest, it had very little chance to succeed because at 45, it's not easy to get pregnant even with IVF. That's a huge betrayal of OP's daughter's trust and Anna's legacy. I'm not surprised OP's daughter refuses to talk to him because what he did is disgusting. And now let's hear the community's opinion. You're the a-hole. You chose to prioritize your new wife's desires over the promise you made to your daughter and her late mother. Lily didn't ask for a sibling, she asked for the future her parents worked hard to provide for her. You've left her feeling abandoned and betrayed, and honestly, I can't blame her. It's not Susan's fault for wanting to be a mother, but it's your responsibility to stand firm when your daughter's future is at stake. You're the a-hole. While your intentions may have been good, the execution was completely selfish. You had a daughter who depended on that fund to shape her future, and you decided to use it for something speculative. Now your daughter is left with nothing, and you've destroyed her trust in you. Lily, isn't wrong to be angry. It wasn't your money to gamble away, and the fact that it's gone with nothing to show for it makes it worse. You owe her a huge apology, but don't be surprised if it takes a long time for her to forgive you. You're the a-hole. You didn't just spend money. You broke a promise. That fund was a symbol of stability and security for Lily, something her parents built together with her future in mind. By using it for IVF, you showed her that her needs came second to your new wife's desires. It's heartbreaking that IVF didn't work out, but that doesn't erase the fact that you took something that was never meant for this purpose. You need to take full accountability and figure out how to help Lily with her education, even if it takes years to rebuild the trust you've lost. My female 36 husband, male 38, and I both work full-time and to have a 2-year-old little girl. Our hours are both my mother-in-law's old, and my own parents live in another country, so we have temporary live-in hired help to take care of our little girl. Daycare are closed where we are. We follow strict virus rules and keep a very small social bubble. While not well off, we are comfortable. Hubs has a younger sister, female, 36, who hasn't worked for years. No physical or other disabilities. She explained to me before that she loves freedom too much to waste away in an office, whereas her brother and I away in an office. But I digress. Mother-in-law and Hubs support her financially, and she also has a property to rent out. Recently, Hubs and our little girl were both granted an equal inheritance for mother-in-law's sister. She disliked her sister-in-law and left her with nothing. Sister-in-law complained that it wasn't fair and asked Hubs to give her 2/3 in value of what he and my little girl got, with some logic on how a little girl didn't need anything and how Hubs and I are together better off than she is, given we can afford the luxury of expensive hired help. Also, as sister-in-law is on the rocks with her boyfriend, she also has to shell out extra money for renting a place to live. Hubs agreed before telling me. I found myself flipping my and telling him that he can spoil sister-in-law rotten, but he has no business giving away my little girl stuff, so this is where I might be the a-hole. Hubs cried after I raged. He said he didn't want to be greedy and that our little girl obviously won't need college funds for a long time, so we'd be able to save up enough for her if we both continue working full-time. Then I got even more big mistake. Asked him why a parasite matters more to him than his own baby girl. He cried even more and just went for a walk to calm down, and now I feel like the worst wife in the world. I'd never made him cry before. I the a-hole, not the a-hole. Why is your husband financially supporting his sister who has no reason not to work other than not wanting to? I would have lost my 2. Why should you have to bust your to save up for a college fund just so his sister can throw a money that she's not entitled to not be the a-hole so he can do what he wants with his part of the inheritance, assuming that you both keep separate finances or have agreed previously that it was his money in some way, but he should never have touched your daughter's portion without consulting. Your parenting is a 2-player game, not one, and he now needs to find a way to either take it back or replace the value, not the a-hole. Has he already given her the money? Because he should think very hard about it. He has no business giving away your daughter's money. That is theft. In my eyes, he can give her 100% of his, and even then I would be like, this is going directly against the last wishes of mother-in-law's sister. He hasn't yet. His aunt only recently passed, and things are still being sorted out. She didn't like sister-in-law because sister-in-law had kept on badgering her with some MLM stuff, so I guess that's why she chose to give our daughter the remaining bit of her inheritance instead. I didn't bring up the fact that auntie deliberately left nothing to sister-in-law, and it be against her wishes to give her stuff though, because he was already plenty upset. But now I'm not sure if calmly reasoning from this perspective would have been better. At updating Hubs and I have reconciled. Basically he told me that since sister-in-law's boyfriend will likely go back to his wife now, he's worried she won't find someone to take care of her since she's on the wrong side of 35, so wants to make sure she would have enough to live on when he and mother-in-law is gone. He apologized for the inheritance sharing thing. He says that he knew auntie didn't want anything to go to sister-in-law, and he tried not to think of that, but our fight made him reevaluate his responsibilities to family, including auntie, so he'll have a talk with sister-in-law to let her know his decision. We still have problems to work out, but we'll take those forward by being more open with each other about our feelings. Thanks all for the comments and advice. In early 2019 I got tattoos of my kids' names and dates of birth and an easily hidden location with a fairly minimalist design, nothing offensive or dumb, just names, dates and some lines. Mom said throughout my childhood that she didn't like tattoos, but she said the same thing about piercings, and she still took me to get my ears pierced at 16. She wasn't happy about it, but she did it. Didn't think it'd be a big deal that I got a tattoo, and I didn't even tell her because I thought it was such a non-event. We went on a family holiday in mid-2019, and she saw it cue a full-on screaming session like I was a little kid and not a 24-year-old woman, during which she said I was dead to her. I spent the rest of the holiday trying to speak to her, and she ignored me like I wasn't even there. Holiday ended, we all went home, and I began trying to contact Mom through technology, only for her to systematically block me on everything but not before a final message saying I broke her heart and calling me selfish and impulsive despite her overreaction. I do miss her. We were close, and my kids love her, and I would like to mend bridges if she can get over her body mod version. My fiance proposed in early 2019 before losing contact with Mom. We were going to get married in late 2012, but then we had to postpone indefinitely for obvious reasons. We've had a baby since then who has been added to the tattoo, and my fiance and I decided to just say duck it and get married ASAP because it's dumb that we've been pushing back this wedding for so long that we've created life before tying the knot. We've made arrangements for early February 2022. And it's less than a dozen people in drinks at our place. After guest list is our siblings, some friends, my ex-stepmom, and that's it. Of my siblings told Mom, and she has unblocked me to request an invite. I don't know what to do. I want to make up with her, but there's not really time to make up pre-wedding as we live in different countries, so she would be coming here solely for the wedding, and I don't know if the wedding should be the first time I see her again, and considering that I've not only added to the first tattoo but got a few more, I don't know how she'll react. There's also the fact that my ex-stepmom is coming though. I don't know if that'll be a problem given the divorce. While I clearly have plenty of reasons not to invite her, I do still miss her and want to reconnect, and I worry that if I don't invite her to the wedding that might be the final straw for our relationship. Do I respond with my mother's request? Ask her if she regrets blocking you for getting a tattoo and whether she still thinks you're selfish and impulsive if she doesn't own up to her behavior. I wouldn't invite her if she kicks up a fuss. Just say that you don't have a space for someone who cuts off contact over a tattoo. How can you trust her to behave at the wedding if she doesn't apologize for what she did? She seemed pretty content to cut you off for a minor thing. She said in the message asking for an invite that she regretted the past unpleasantness and would like to move past it, but that was all she said. I would like a little more of an apology, but I don't think I'll get it, to be honest. I never thought she'd cut me off over something like that, and she doesn't want to explain, so I don't know what happened. There I met Jeff, 58, male, and my now husband around 30 years ago. We both had sons from previous relationships. Julio, 32, male, Jeff's son, and Roger, 31, male, my son. We also have a daughter, 27, female. We've always been a regular blended family. My husband treated all our kids equally, so did I. Roger calls Jeff's dad and Julio call me mom, as the boys met when they were really young. They always got along well, and they even didn't see each other as stepbrothers. But brothers, this all changed about 10 years ago. The thing is that Roger had a girlfriend who cheated on him with Julio. They had a huge argument. Roger ended up moving in with his biological dad and basically disowned Julio. He never talked to Julio again. When Roger came to visit, he made sure Julio wasn't there. Matter how hard Julio and his girlfriend tried to apologize, my son never accepted the apologies. Julio ended up marrying her 5 years ago, and they have a daughter. To show Julio that there are consequences of his actions, so my husband and I banned his wife from our house. Julio understood a year ago. My son came out and introduced us to his fiancée. We welcomed him and let him know that we love him to the stars and back. He's going to get married in a couple of weeks, but he hasn't invited Julio. Julio was sad when he found out that his brother was getting married and didn't invite him. Julio invited Roger to his wedding. I think that since he was actually all this time and never really liked the girl, it wasn't a big deal, and also because it happened 10 years ago, he should get over it and enjoy the family and niece he has. We met at a cafe 3 days ago to talk about the wedding, thus I asked him if he changed his mind about inviting his brother. He said no, so I told him to get over himself since that happened 10 years ago and he's only missing a loving brother and a niece. He told me it wasn't my business to say who he could invite or not. He also said that I can attend, but I will no longer walk him down, and he asked his dad and my husband instead, which makes me furious since this is my child and my right to walk him down on his special day. My husband accepted an a-hole move, if you ask me, and said I was the a-hole for forcing things, but I'm not. I just want my son to forgive his brother and welcome this new chapter of his life with positive vibes instead of resentment. He didn't even like the girl. So it's not a big deal now. Everyone calls me the a-hole, even my daughter. So am I really the a-hole, or are they? Just overreacting. Yes, the a-hole that Roger is. Edit should have said non-straight because he may not be, has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that Julio knowingly stabbed him in the back by ducking his then partner. Roger will never get over being betrayed by someone he thought he could trust by pushing it. You are also betraying him. He's an who has made his choice. And you are refusing to respect that if you don't drop the subject entirely and permanently, Roger will cut you out of his life just like he has Julio. Yes, don't use Roger's component placement in the face for him. I'm sure you need to mind your business. You don't get to decide how he responds to a huge betrayal. Julio is the one that caused permanent damage to your family. Also he's now, so it doesn't even matter. Line of thought. Annie needs to be tied to a rock and thrown in the ocean. I was adopted into the Smith family when I was a few months old. I am the youngest, 22, female, and have 5 older siblings. The 3 oldest, Beth, 31, female, James, 40, female, and Carl, 44, male, are my parents' biological children. My closest sibling, Tucker, 24, male, was adopted a year before me. Beth has some behavioral problems. She will get moody, has times when she cries over any perceived slight. She loves kids, and when they reject her, she will try to make it right, almost obsessively. Her children are the sole focus of her life, and she considers Tucker and myself to be part of her tribe. Our parents had to tell her to stop trying to help parent. Beth would want to do things like help us brush our teeth when we were 11, when we already knew how and had no cavities. She would try to dress us into high school. While I love Beth as a sister, I am annoyed by her treatment and spent very little time with her from the age of 14 to 20. She got better when she had her latest kid now too, but she's back to treating us like children now that the baby stage is done. Last year, Tucker found his biological parents. They told him they didn't want anything to do with him. He was gutted. I still wanted to look for my biological family. I did the research and found an aunt. I contacted her, and she was interested in getting to know me. It was a positive interaction. She friended me on Facebook, and I talked to some cousins. Then one day I got online and she is gone. I have a message from another cousin saying, "Wow, that was uncalled for." I couldn't figure out what was being said, so I asked. They told me to talk to my sister since she was so godly. Then they all blocked me. I found out that Beth contacted my aunt and cousins asking why my birth mother was not speaking to me. I had no issue with how the timeline was going. I was happy to have some bio family to talk to. Beth sent some long insane ramble, and whatever it said scared my birth family off. Now they don't want to speak with me. I cut Beth off right then. I don't care if she meant well or if she has mental issues. She was not someone I ever wanted to help me with situations. I have told Beth that she ruined this for me. I've not spoken to her in 5 months. Now she came to Christmas. I refused her present and did not get her anything. I've not spoken to her family at all. I'm so mad I could spit. She tried to reason that Tucker was hurt, so she wanted to help. Told her this was the last line she crossed, and it was my right to be upset and handle my birth family on my own. I let her know that there was nothing she could say to make this okay. She has invited me to visit my nieces, but I've declined. James, Carl, and Tucker are on my side and told her that she has destroyed something good for me. This is just one of many things she has ruined trying to make me like her. I'm ready to cut her out completely and her family because I am so hurt. I don't see her ever making this up to me. I'm not sure where I can go from here. Our parents are not the kind to make us get along. If we don't want to, they're fine doing separate holidays or even timing it so no one is around. The other, they have let Beth know that she has crossed the line. They have not cut her off. They still see their grandkids, but they have absolutely refused to get in the middle. I know Beth is upset because her husband contacted me asking me to talk it out with her. I told him no, she deserved to be upset. She took something from me, and she needed mental help, but I'm done. I'm not having her ruin another big thing for me because she thinks of me as a child. I am just lost. I've not seen my nieces except when my parents babysit, and I'm sad about that, but I refuse to engage with their mother at all. I don't think I can ever forgive this. So where do I go from? Her sister is nuts. Keep her cut off. Either you or the adoptive parents can reach out to your biological family and explain that Beth is a nut job and you'd like to stay in contact. You're doing perfect. This is what setting healthy boundaries feels like. It hurts, but you know you're in the right here. Stick to your guns, and it will get easier.